third and final story of the day is about Apple CEO Tim Cook, who went from hero to zero in a matter of 2 weeks, as a lot of people on the left do. I always warn people, it's a race to the bottom. Identity politics are always going to come back and bite you in the butt, especially like it's oppression Olympics, this weird hierarchy where if you're a certain race or gender, you're at the top. If you're a certain race or gender, you're at the lowest. Tim Cook, albeit he seems like he might be pro-LGBT or he might be LGBT himself. No disrespect, those are just the vibes I get. You know, I got a good radar. But if he's not, that's cool too. Sometimes people assume that I'm gay or something. I'm not trying, I'm just letting you know, I'm trying to be mean, I'm trying to be funny. I gotta like sugarcoat everything so I don't get kicked out of the social media sphere. Anyway, you know, Tim Cook was the hero last week, but he's a man, a white man, and not only that, he's not doing really good with Apple business. So whether it was social justice, his race, his gender, or his company, he was bound to get thrown under the bus. The reason I say that is not to say that this race is oppressed. I'm not, like someone commented before and like, Anomaly, you say all this stuff and then you say the white man is being oppressed. I don't feel remotely oppressed. I'm not saying I'm oppressed. What I'm saying is that the left wing, they operate under this hierarchy. This is not my heart. I don't operate under this. I'm explaining to you how they think. They don't judge people by content of character. If I was to hire somebody or I was to work with somebody or I'm to like interpret a message from somebody, I don't care what race, religion, or gender they are. I care about the content of what they're saying. And just to give you an example, I have a lot of Christian friends that I love. I have an atheist, like satanic friend that like loves heavy metal music that I love. I'm going to lunch tomorrow with someone who's Muslim that I love. They're a great Muslim person. I don't care what your race or your, who are you? What's your message? But the left just doesn't operate that way. I wish they did. They just don't. It's all, this is your race. I like you no matter what. This is your religion. I like you no matter what. This is your gender and your race. I hate you. You're the oppressor. We're going to destroy your life because that's what we're doing. That's the realm they operate under. And we can pretend like they don't. We could lie to ourselves. And maybe that would make some people feel better. But I just can't lie to myself. I made a tweet the other day before I get on. It's a little tangent, but it's important. I made a tweet and I said, if things are 90% one way and I say that they're in the middle, am I being unbiased or am I being a liar? And a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people like me, but a lot of people don't. And they say I'm biased. But the thing is, if I told you things were in the middle, it might feel good to a lot of people. I might have more fans on a certain side. They might say, oh, Anomaly's right in the middle. He's not left. He's not right. He's right there. But that's if things were actually in the middle and we were operating from this level. Things are 90% one way and slipping that way. So if I sit here and act like I'm in the middle, like a lot of people do, that's fine, but it wouldn't be real. I don't think that's being biased or unbiased. I'm trying to level the scales. Like, you can't level a scale by pretending like it's in the middle when it's not. It's never going to go back to center. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Hopefully it doesn't get misconstrued by too many. On that note, Tim Cook had really bad Apple sales. He blamed the iPhone. Luckily, he didn't say it was anything else, this, that, and the other. I can't say I'm very surprised. First of all, no disrespect to Tim Cook. I think I called him Tim Apple a few times. Sorry if I did. But, you know, Steve Jobs really did a lot for Apple, and I don't think he's no Steve Jobs. Like I said, I don't mean to be mean. I'm not. It's like saying that Derrick Rose is no Michael Jordan. Like, it's no disrespect to Tim Cook, but it's like Michael Jordan was clearly better than Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose is an incredible player. It's just he's not as good as Michael Jordan. I'm just saying they lost the legend who really made their company something with the marketing and sleek designing. But also, he spends way too much time social justice worrying than he does with a business. I mean, he's at the ADL talking about how he's very proud of fighting white supremacist music on his Apple store or whatever, on Apple Music. It's like, has anybody ever heard white supremacist music? I mean, white supremacists did a lot of things in the last 30 years. Actually, they didn't do barely anything. But out of everything that they did, I would probably say success in the Apple Music Store is very low on the scale of what white supremacists in the modern era are good at. They're good at almost nothing. They've been successful at almost nothing. But even in that small success that they may or may not have had in organizing or doing whatever, I don't think it came through the Apple Music Store. I'm just going to be honest. White supremacists they're not out there crushing the hip-hop industry. Oh, man, I'm going to put down the J. Cole record because, man, this MC Skinhead, bro, he's crushing it, bro. Have you heard MC Skinhead, man? Like, J. Cole's tight, Kendrick Lamar's tight, Jay-Z's pretty chill. But, like, man, this white supremacist, like, really's got bars, dog. Like, it's not happening. I'm sorry, there's no white. It's like, man, you seen Dead Mouse at the EDM concert? When he took off his little mouse head, it was a white supremacist. He had a KKK outfit under the Dead Mouse head, man. But that's just so fire, though. You know, I can't stop listening to it, no matter how crazy it is, dog. Like, it's not a thing. White supremacist music doesn't exist. And Tim Cook, instead of running his company, instead of worrying about the design of the iPhone, instead of worrying about, I don't know, internet censorship, the loss of the First Amendment happening through his company, a lot of other serious threats that are going on, I'm sure you have an easier time as a terrorist organization getting on a Twitter or an Apple thing than you would as Alex Jones or Milo. So it's like, dog, he's like... He's way too proud of fighting white supremacist music on the Apple Store. It's like, bro, it doesn't exist, my man. So, yeah, it's insane. Oh, the company's tanking. Yeah, well, because he made a straw man. He lied to everybody. They live a lie. They live this. They make the 0.001% into the 99.999% and say, oh, my God, it's so terrible. And that's the big scoop to them. And then, yeah, it never was the big scoop. You lied to yourself. Also, I want to give you an example of what happened on YouTube recently. YouTube has prioritized, as Patreon, Twitter, PayPal, all of these websites, they prioritize hating on far-right people, even though it's not really a big problem. They spend all their energy censoring me, I'm not even far-right, but demonetizing liberals, taking money away, kicking these channels off. They had a big problem on YouTube. You know what their problem was? They had pedophiles running rampant and pedophilia content with hundreds of millions of views and millions of followers. Like, it was a huge problem. It wasn't like a small, like white supremacist music is like a sliver. It's like a 0.000000001% of what's actually going on. This was actually a very significant chunk of pedophiles, but that's classic left-wingism. It's like we hate right-wing people more than we care about pedophiles. So YouTube had to do a whole like cover-up operation about like, oh no, we kicked that problem, but it was a huge problem for a long time. You had channels grooming a bunch of little kids through video views that had like millions upon millions of views and all these comments, really bad stuff. That's what happens when you spend all your energy on something that really doesn't exist or is actually beneficial, and then you turn a blind eye to like reality. YouTube did it. Now it's happening to Apple's Tim Cook, and who's really surprised? I mean, you listen to the guy talk, and I was like, oh my goodness, this guy is an absolute goofball. And I love Apple products. Don't get me wrong. I love Apple products. I'll sit here. This is not a paid ad, obviously. If I had a sponsorship with Apple, it would have ended after this stream. But my last laptop lasted like 9 years. I did heavy video editing. It's a super sturdy product. I bought a new Apple product. I mean, to me, they last a really long time. And something that cheap lasts 9 years, I'm sold. But what are you doing, my man? Like, you got bigger fish to fry. And this is a problem. Like, I could take this Tim Cook problem and joke about it, but this philosophy, this psychology, not to act so fancy, but it's just true. Take this to everything. Take it to the border wall. Take it to the refugee crisis. Take it to the Middle East. Take it to policy. Take it to the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. This is what modern day liberalism has become. They're destroying everything that's actually really good in pursuit to destroy something that pretty much doesn't exist. And in pursuit of destroying that thing that pretty much doesn't exist, they're becoming that thing that doesn't exist. So we're fighting racism, sexism, and fascism, but they're the most fascist. They own 90% of the media. They want to take the First and Second Amendment away. They want to take more tax and control of industry and health. That's what fascists do. They take control of everything. Fascists don't cut taxes and give the power back to these people and that people. A fascist government takes control of everything. So they're being fascist. They say they're fighting racism and sexism by banning white supremacist music from the Apple Store. Like, you got to be joking me. Even left-wing people got to know there's not really such thing as white supremacist music. And if it is, I'll give you a hint. Nobody's listening to it. No right-wing people. It's not popping on the right. I'll let you know. I'll peek my head in the alt-right and see if they're really... No one cares. There's no such thing. Maybe there's a few, like meme videos or something that you might find off-putting, but it's not a thing. So in pursuit of stopping racism and sexism, they actually become the most racist and sexist. Like Tim Cook probably doesn't like white people, and he is white, which is the ultimate irony. But I'm not being mean. I'm not trying to like conflate things, but it's just really true. They're saying men this, men that. Like, you don't ever hear me say women this, women that, women that. Like, I don't talk like that. And when I do talk about the separate sexes, I acknowledge that they have different strengths and weaknesses and powers, and it's a beautiful thing. Sometimes I say women may be more powerful than men just based off, the way they can operate through life. And that's debatable, but I don't look down on women or men. It's like, we are what we are. And even I don't look down on, this or that. I'm just honest about it. But they do that. They hate certain races. They hate certain genders more than pretty much anyone I follow on the right. Like, no one on the right that I follow cares about any of that stuff. They don't, like, even people on the right are pro-LGBT. They're just not annoying about it. Like, I like Milo. I like a lot of right-wing people that never talk about gay rights at all. And they're just not obnoxious. Like, overall, so that's the story. It's like CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, getting horrible press. I mean, the press has turned against him like that. And I just want to say to my people on the left, and this could happen on the right too, probably, it's like, you're the man till you're not the man. This is the whole media in general. It just so happens that 90+% of the media now seems to be going an extreme liberal thing. You're not going to be popping forever. It's going to be Bernie Sanders sexual harassment. Tim Cook, terrible, needs to step down, has no integrity. Just 2 weeks ago, they were acting like he was the Martin Luther King Gandhi because he talked at the ADL. But now his sales go down, and now, like, he's got 20 bad articles about him. Is he this? Was he ever supposed to be there? Was he ever meant to be? It's like, damn, from top to bottom, started at the top, now we're here. They turned on Tim Cook really quick. He's like, come on, I pandered to you and said I got rid of white supremacist music. What are you doing? It's like, it doesn't matter, Louis C.K. You probably voted for Hillary, but they don't like you anymore because Louis C.K.'s funny, he's honest, and he loves the First Amendment, so he's an enemy. Kevin Hart is honest, funny, super liberal, but made a gay joke one time, so now he's the number one enemy. It's not a system. It's like standing on a bridge that's about to collapse and wondering when it collapses, like, oh, shucks, why did that happen? It's because the whole foundation that people are standing on the left is a foundation that is going to collapse. And I just want to end real quick. There's a reason that it's a 0% success rate. It's not working in Europe. It's not working in the UK. It's not working in France or Belgium. It's not working in Canada. It's not working in Sweden. It's actually backfiring tremendously in all of those places. And in history, it has a whopping 0% success rate. It's led to millions of people dead. It's very rarely, if ever, led to prosperity because the whole ideology is failed. You penalize hardworking, middle-class, and upper-class people, and you prioritize and fund and take their sources and goods and give it to people who are not necessarily as successful. Living in America for 20 years, coming from a working-class family, from a factory family of mechanics and factory workers and, standard living, I could say that hard work, persistence, and passion does pay off with gratefulness, appreciation. The first two amendments, lower taxes as a comparison to like Europe and Canada, because when you don't have $10,000, $20,000 being stolen from you by the federal government every year, it makes it a lot more easier to do things to benefit your health or your business or your career. And it's worked really well for me so far, even living in a nearly socialist communist state. It's like, because America overall, it works out. It checks out every time. But if we go any further, add a carbon tax, add a $1 trillion deal in the health industry or the energy sector, when you don't understand how these things work, it could go really, really quickly. I mean, the empires collapse quickly. We're already dealing with a creepy, phony capitalist, bubble system of fiat currency and banks that control everything. So we're already on a fine line, and we're doing all right. One false turn, and everything's going to go downhill. And that's why I had the talk with the first one. And I promise you guys, before I leave, maybe I'll chat for a second because I'm chilling. But I'm going to do as many videos as I can, like easy to understand videos, because this insurgence that's happening on the left is very, very real. And people they don't know. And yelling at them and making fun of them and, arguing with them and talking down to them, it's not going to change their opinion. It's just going to make them justify why they feel that way. And when I have conversations with people, especially in person as well, and I come at it from this angle that I'm coming at now, and I do most of the time, they start to really understand, because it's not that hard to understand if you don't lead with hate and fear and negativity, and you lead with love and communication. It's very simple to, really be like, oh yeah, that is true. Like, you can't just scream at a whole race or religion, but if you break it down, like, this is why what happened there is really not working out so well. And people know that. They have two eyes. And so we're going to try to have these conversations. I'm going to work my hardest that I can this year to produce the best, most efficient videos to get people to wake up, because we need it to happen. The First and the Second Amendment and a lot of other things in America are not up for debate. I mean, they're up for debate, but they're not up for grabs. We can't really give up anymore. And I'm going to do my best to do that. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate everybody supporting.